Welcome back and thanks for staying with the agenda this morning. It's been a conversation since last night really. The ANC's Economic Transformation Head, Enoch Godongwana, has criticised a statement by ANC Secretary-General Ace Magshule that the party's National Executive Committee has agreed to expand the Reserve Bank's mandate. Magashule told the media at a post-Lekgotla briefing in Pretoria that the ruling party wants the mandate to be expanded to focus on development and job creation. Godongwana then sent out a statement that was tweeted by Finance Minister Tito Mboweni that government determines the mandate of the Reserve Bank. Let's now take that conversation further, or rather let's listen to what the ANC Secretary-General said about the mandate of the Reserve Bank. For reaction on those and other issues, we're now joined by the ANC spokesperson Pule Mabe to give us a better understanding. The mandate of the SARB as it stands, maintenance of price stability. We've been here before. Why is there this constant conversation between the within the African National Congress about the expansion of this mandate?
Well, there are no issues. Maybe let me start by greeting your viewers. The mandate of the Reserve Bank is as is, to maintain price stability in the interest of balanced and sustainable economic growth.
Absolutely.
And they are doing that quite well. Well, if you like, look at about what 17 countries that the South African Reserve Bank is responsible for as a central bank. Now they are doing that quite well.
How do you mean 17 countries?
Well, remember that a central bank could also perform...
Serves its country.
Yes.
It's a member state to other countries.
Yes, but it could also play a similar role to others.
As clients,
as clients.
All right.
So that's what I'm referring to.
Okay.
So now we are saying you have been doing this quite well. We have got an issue now. The economy has contracted with what, 3%?
3.2%.
3.2%. You have got... rearing unemployment. You go to Lekgotla, you pronounce yourself and say, let's declare unemployment a national emergency. Now, what does that mean? It means that you have got to look at the various policy instruments that could be able to assist you advance that kind of an agenda. And one of the things that we did as the African National Congress is to even go there and agree on a 3-shift system and said, let's create an economy that doesn't sleep. Make sure that we've got a 3-shift system that will allow us to create the sort of jobs that are needed. Now,
Take us through the 3-shift?
Now, because currently now we only have 2 shifts. So when you do 3 shifts, it means that it will be...
Explain it. I honestly do not understand.
Okay. What we said must happen in the 3-shift system is to make sure that your economy doesn't sleep. Even the things that, for instance, take government buildings.
Yeah.
Government works until 4 o'clock. As a simple example, you go to the Department of Health. Their headquarters is in Pretoria.
Yeah.
4 o'clock, they are closed. So you ought to make sure that how you balance or how you do those shifts is such that even those services that are provided by the public service could be able to expand beyond what are currently your normal working hours. When you do that, you are actually allowing young people to also get more jobs. Because it means that because you have introduced a new shift,
yeah.
If all the other shifts that are there were cumulatively creating about 3 million jobs.
These concerns that you're talking about, should they not be handled by the Department of Employment and Labour?
Yes, but the ANC is the ruling party, and the African National Congress remains the strategic center of power. Now, it must be able to dictate policy to all of its deployees, including government itself. Where we lead, I mean, it's us. The Department of Labour didn't do a manifesto. The Department of Finance didn't do a manifesto. The manifesto that produced this government is one that was sold to the people of South Africa by the ANC. Therefore, the ANC remains the strategic center of power. That's why we held the Lekgotla. The purpose of the Lekgotla was to bring together our alliance partners, those deployed as director generals. I mean, we even had a...
But the very ANC that you're talking about is in disagreement about how to do this, number one.
Yes.
But number two, it owes the South African public clarity on what this back and forth is all about.
Yes, Osdes. Thanks for that. I don't think that there is disagreement. For instance, just as a matter of clarity, there is only one statement sanctioned and issued by the African National Congress, read out by the Secretary-General, empowered by the constitution of the ANC.
Empowered by the Lekgotla.
Empowered by the Lekgotla
So
as
the
well.
Lekgotla has definitely decided that there's going to be conversation about expanding the mandate of the SARB.
Well, of course, there was that kind of a discussion in the Lekgotla.
But has there been a final decision?
In terms of what was discussed at the Lekgotla, yes, there was finality to that, because you see, Osdesri, what we do is that at the end of the Lekgotla, we communicate the outcomes of the Lekgotla. So maybe...
So are you saying that the Minister of Finance
Yes.
and Mr. Godongwana are undisciplined members of the ANC?
Well, of course. I mean, they know they have got access to platforms of the ANC. If they are not comfortable with certain things that the ANC has pronounced on, they know. The address of the ANC has not changed. We are still at Lituli House. So we are not going to tolerate any form of public spare by any member of the African National Congress. All our cadres, including those that we have deployed in government as ministers, have got the responsibility to hold on to the good decorum of the ANC. If there are issues of tactic in terms of how the ANC should be driving out its own messaging, our cadres have got access to structures. They can come and deposit their own. Well, there is already a conversation happening. There is already a conversation happening at the level of the African National Congress to make sure that all of us are at one. It could be the issue of what do you communicate at what point. Even with that, the ANC cannot be seen to be relenting on things that have been discussed by structures. Are you going to discipline them? Well, I don't think that it is my call to discuss on the disciplining or not disciplining of members on public television. All I can tell you is that we do not take kindly to public spat, encourage all of our comrades to use available structures of the organization to be able to deposit their views. If they are not satisfied with certain things that are deposited out there in the public, the Secretary-General's office is wide open. They are welcome to raise their views. Because let me tell you why that is important. It is important that on matters of the economy and any other issue of public interest, when we rise to communicate as the ANC, we are seen to be communicating one singular message, so that the people of South Africa can have confidence.
It's all good and well to communicate one singular message, but if that message does not resonate with the public, isn't that problematic? One of the biggest problems coming out right now is that policymakers are not using evidence-based information in creating policies such as this big decision of expanding the mandate of the SARB.
Well, Osdesri, I can assure you that one of the things that happened at our Lekgotla is that even before, we got a 25-year review, which was presented by Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, which painted a picture of where we come from as a country since 1994, the sort of interventions we have made where we have slipped. We also had the State of the Nations in numbers, which was presented by the Statistician General to give us a picture of where we are. What are the areas?
The very Statistician General who's telling us that the economy is not growing and evidence-based interventions are needed to grow this economy.
Yes, that's why I'm saying, does
the Statistician General agree with the ANC that the mandate of the SARB needs to be expanded?
The Statistician General doesn't have to agree with the ANC. We can't even expect that. It doesn't have to.
South Africans have to agree with the ANC though.
But we are, it is not his responsibility to agree or disagree with the ANC. His duty is to give us a picture of the state of the nation. Where are we? And then when the African National Congress applies its mind to all of those things, it then says, if we want to make sure that we achieve the 14% that we had spoken about, what are the things? And these are merely proposals. These are merely proposals. You say, what are the policy instruments that you could be able to use to turn around the country and drive the kind of growth that you want?
The African National Congress, and then by extension the government, is a democratic, they follow democratic processes.
Yes.
And you were talking now about not tolerating members who go out and speak against what has been agreed on. Earlier on, we spoke to COSATU, we spoke to Mr. Sizwe Pamla about their feelings about these latest developments. Let's just take a listen to that clip about what COSATU had to say.
No one is sure what did the ANC Lekgotla say when it comes to the issue of the Reserve Bank? Because we have got so many voices coming out and presenting their own interpretations. This has nothing to do with alliance. It has a lot to do with an ANC that is unable to actually manage its own deployees that it sends to government, and they end up interpreting the resolutions, water them down, sometimes just handing them over to the private sector.
So here's another person, another stakeholder within the processes of the African National Congress who disagrees with the way these things are being handled. What are your thoughts?
Well, what Sizwe is saying is consistent with what I've said, that if we are seen to be talking past each other, not using internal platforms that are available to deposit our own views, we communicate messages. You see, if you talk past each other, there is in no way that people will be able to understand what you are trying to convey. So it is important that at all material times, the leadership of the African National Congress is seen to be at one. So what we've also decided to do, which is a practice that we've been doing, is to make sure that going forward, we also get the head of the ETC to play a role on some of these issues, work together with us as we go out to communicate to the public, so that the messages that we communicate at all times are understood to be coming from one organization. The Secretary-General rises and takes the podium to speak on the outcomes of a Lekgotla. Now, this outcomes of a Lekgotla gives a broad picture of what was reflected upon by those that, remember that the Lekgotla is not a constitutional structure of the ANC.
It's conversations.
It's conversations.
Yeah.
So now we are effectively coming out, having a public spurt on conversations. We are not supposed to be doing that, because what we are supposed to be doing is participate constructively to enrich those.
You cannot downplay that these conversations, the outcomes of the conversations, came out on the same day where millions of South Africans who are told, who are looking for jobs, are told, hold on quite a bit.
On the contraction.
We're not going to be providing jobs yet.
We are together there. We are together there. We are together there that there is a serious economic turmoil as it relates to the creation of jobs and how we begin to consolidate and grow our economy. Now we come out of the Lekgotla that has looked at various available policy instruments that could be able to make a positive contribution towards us creating the jobs that we need. But what we are not going to be able to do is that we are not going to sleep at our laurels when we have got an opportunity to do certain things. For instance, the issue that we spoke about when we opened this conversation was the three-shift system.
Take us through that process, not only just the detail of what it is, because I was struggling a bit to get what the detail is. Not just the detail, but what the end game is, what you hope to achieve by doing that, and how it relates to the mandate of the South African Reserve Bank.
No. The three-shift system is not necessarily an issue that is related to the conversation around the SARB. The three-shift system it's
a solution for employment.
It's a solution for employment and making sure that we have got our young people and the unemployed in this country having productive work themselves.
All right, so let's zone in on specifically the conversation about the expansion of the mandate of the SARB. How does this conversation take South Africa forward as far as the conversations that were held within the Lekgotla?
Well, as it relates to that, you said that, okay, Reserve Bank, you have got a mandate to deal with, maintain price stability by curbing inflation, amongst others, but also make sure that there is a sustainable economic growth. Now, you have done this so well. Now, it should be seen in the positive to say that you could also advance as part of that mandate growth. Now, remember, we've got triple challenges in this. We have already defined what are triple challenges: poverty, inequality, and jobs, unemployment. Now, in everything else that you do, you use available policy instruments to see if you can make positive intervention towards addressing those triple challenges. In the main, the creation of jobs. So now this should be seen in the positive. It could be that the end game is one that says, no, maybe let's not do this in this way. Let's rather consider a different approach which will be more productive and be able to produce desired results. Now, that becomes, and for instance, take quantitative easing. It's an instrument that is available within the Reserve Bank to be able to introduce new money in the economy. And you say, okay, is this a possible option to lessen intergovernmental debt? Can you be able to raise government bonds?
You would have to have the money to roll that out, though.
Yeah, no, no, I'm saying these are the instruments.
Which is not the case with South Africa at the moment. We
agree there. But we see, I'm trying to take you into what happens into those conversations. So they don't become an end by themselves. They are enriching what we are seeking to do and the sort of interventions that we want to come up with.
Is there concern within the African National Congress that the very people who are supposed to roll out these kind of conversations, these kind of decisions that you've made, are not in agreement with what you want to achieve? The Minister of Finance is the person who will have the responsibility of rolling that out. Mr. Godongwana is a respected policymaker within the African National Congress, within the economic cluster. Are you worried that the people who are in charge of rolling out your decisions do not agree with the mother body in terms of how you want to do these things?
Desiree, that's why we agreed to come and talk to you. We are talking to you, one, so that we can restate the position of the African National Congress, but we are also talking to you, two, so that we can encourage all our comrades throughout the length and breadth of the country, including those who are in structures of leadership.
But your comrades are thinking beings. They cannot just agree without engagement.
But you are asking me if we are worried. So I'm trying to respond to that question on what we are doing to try and make sure that we keep that. One of the things is to encourage our comrades to stick to the approved communications protocols. We cannot use available platforms like social media to be able to talking past each other, because when we do that, we confuse the very society that we are supposed to lead. So it is a big concern. We do not want public spat. The ANC is a democratic
all right,
organization.
we need to wrap up quickly.
And people can be able to
What is the situation with responses to the disgruntlement with young people within the African National Congress?
Well, I would take that you are raising that in the context of, is it jobs? Is it the Youth League?
It's the Youth League, the leaders. They said yesterday, while you were presenting the outcomes of the Lekgotla, your young people were outside saying that they would like leadership changed within the African National Congress. They do not recognize Colin Maina. Maina is hardly ever there when they're dealing with important societal issues. What's your response to that?
The ANC Youth League is autonomous. It is a democratic organization. It has got its own constitution, which guides and governs how it must do and conduct its own activities.
So you're not going to respond to the young people who...
I'm getting to that point. What is happening is that I know that today there is a meeting taking place between the Secretary-General of the Youth League delegation of the ANC Youth League that will be led by their SG, together with an NEC team that has been established to try and help the Youth League to go to its Congress.
Yeah.
Young people will raise their views. But what we can do as the leadership of the ANC is to stand out and make populist statements that we will disband the ANC Youth League.
It's really not populist statements. Young people in South Africa want to know youth is a very important component in terms of the constituency of the African National Congress. I don't know if you disagree.
Yes, but a populist statement, Desiree, is when you say you are
We're
disbanding...
not looking for a populist statement. We're looking for a leadership statement to say, but this is how we're engaging with this matter.
The only challenge is that you are not allowing me to speak, because I was going to address what is populist in there. The populist statement would be to stand out and say we are going to disband the structure of the Youth League without according the leadership of the Youth League the chance to tell us where they are with the work that they are expected to do. But we do take the concerns of young people seriously. It shows that in their majority believe that the only organization of youth that could be able to carry forward their aspirations is the ANC Youth League. And the fact that we are meeting today to attend exactly to those things means that we're a listening organization. and
What
taking
we-
leadership as well.
What we would have loved to hear is this is what we're doing to attend to it. But
That's why
unfortunately,
we are meeting
we've
today.
run out of time.
Yes.
Ntate Pule Mabe is the national spokesperson of the African National Congress. Thank you so much for making the time
No, thanks.
to come to talk to us.